wake up and welcome to another episode here for the Funky Pod. It's the weekend and you know what it means. We're recording the Funky Pod. It's been another week, 2 weeks actually. Been sick, been stressed, grading final exam papers and so on. So forgive me for being MIA, but we're back. We're back with all things that make the Funky Pod. We're back with society, media, martial arts, NFTs, I don't know, throw them in there, cats, relationships, sex, drugs, rock and roll, all those things and more now here in the Funky Pod in the next few minutes. So stay tuned, check it out, indulge, enjoy, share the love, whatever you want. I'm still a bit sick, out of the weather, not COVID. Yes, I tested, not COVID, just a cold, I guess. We had graduation ceremony the other day, like a week ago or so. Thousands of people obviously coming together. I always get sick. I'm always the guy who gets all the, bacteria from everybody. So a bit under the weather, but not too bad. But that's why unshaven here right now, in case you're watching the podcast video. Other than that, all good. And we can jump right into it. Okay, so as per usual, I start with like one category, then go to the next one, and so on. You know how it works. And this week we have to start with something serious. It is serious, and I struggled for a while. And I prepared a podcast. Like, should I talk about it? Shouldn't I talk about it? Because I'm not an American. I don't live in America. However, I'm human. And I work in education. Now, I don't work in primary education. I work in higher education. But still, I have lots of friends who work in primary education. Also here in Bangkok, from where I'm recording. But that doesn't really matter because, the main point is we're human and we all seen the shooting in the US. And since then, another shooting happened, not in a school, but another shooting happened. And it's such a, like, this debate has been going on in the media ever since I remember consuming media, like news and so on. It's always been about guns, gun controls, don't take my guns away, Second Amendment right, defend myself, I need guns, and so on. Right. And we're not going to solve it. I'm not going to solve it like on a podcast that like a few thousand people only listen to. I appreciate you though. But so you know what I mean. We're not going to solve it, right? However, I can't, I don't know, maybe I just want to talk about it for like a 5 minutes or so with everybody watching / listening, just because it doesn't make sense in my head anymore. I can't ignore it anymore. So you're like, yeah, the American, you're like, yeah, it's just America. It just happens in America. If I would talk to an American, and if you're American, I'm not insulting anyone, but if we talk, right, we meet, and I tell you, hey, cool, nice meeting you, blah, blah. So I live and work in Thailand. The American would be like, oh, well, it must be dangerous. Oh my God, Thailand, oh, right? I've been here for 10 years. And of course there's crime. Of course there's people stabbing each other, shooting each other, and so on. There's crime. Crime is everywhere. But I've been working in education for 10 years. And neither back home in Europe, nor here in wild Asia, in crazy Thailand, where everything's dangerous, have I seen a school shooting happening. And while I'm the first to say that obviously things aren't perfect here, like far from it, obviously, and I'm not going to go into detail because I need to keep my visa, so of course, but no place is perfect. But that school shootings is such a thing, such an American thing, and we just accept it. It's ridiculous. And this needs to stop. And yeah, I know it's in the culture to have guns, to bear arms. Awesome. Great culture if you need to bear arms because you're scared otherwise. And the gun lobby and the politicians and all those things, I understand. However, And I really have to applaud Steve Kerr there. While I was rooting for the Mavericks in the NBA semifinals, conference semifinals, Steve Kerr's outburst in the press conference. If you haven't seen it, YouTube, Steve Kerr shooting. Got really emotional. He said, "F this. I'm not going to talk about the game right now. I'm going to talk about what happens there, and we need to step up and stand up." And so it was really good. Like, yeah, maybe that's what's needed. I also saw Andrew Schultz, of course, roasting the police department in what's it called, Uvalde or whatever. Haha, yeah, funny, great Schultz. I mean, he's good at roasting things, but I'm over making punchlines out of that, because as soon as you make a punchline out of it, I understand how satire works and all those things, right? You're making a punchline out of it just to exaggerate and extrapolate and tell the people or show people how ridiculous it is. And yes, it's true, but it's just not funny. And I mean, that's a completely different argument. So if you enjoyed what Schultz did, great. Not here to hate on any comedian or whatever. Who would I be to hate on comedians? And I usually enjoy the Flagrant podcast, anyways. But back to the topic at hand, right? Why is America so stupid? And yeah, we have to call it what it is, right? The land of the free, land of the dreams. Everyone can come and forge their future, their fortune, blah, blah. As long as you don't get shot, it is, right? You can make your dreams come true if you don't get shot in America. That's how it is. And it's just, I can't fathom. So first, I'm an educator, right? Okay, but I'm at university, so I deal with grown-ups, so it's different. So, but even if I would have to deal with this like on a level with grown-up students, it would freak me out, obviously. But having to tell like kids like what to do in case a shooter comes in, or what in the world? Or like you bring your kids to school, you think they're safe, and then you go to work, so you think they're in a safe place, and now you have to like, what do? You call the school every 10 minutes just to check in. Like, I don't have the words to explain how angry I am, how sad, how angry, how confused I am that in 2022, right, all the information that we need, that we want, everything is there. But yet, the world police, the land of the free, the land that everyone dreams of, has become the land of nightmares. And of course it's politics. Of course it's lobbyism, all those things. Yeah. So we understand why it all happens the way it happens. But it doesn't mean it has to keep happening. And it's easy to blame the politicians, and I do obviously blame the politicians for taking the money from the NRA and then just, whatever. Yes, blame the politicians. Blame them for playing the politics game, because that's what it is. Right? It's a game of power. And shame on them for not stopping the game here and just coming together to change. And then you play again, all right? Keep playing the game, but in issues like that, you should stop playing the freaking game. Come together, change whatever legislation in this case, and then you go back and then you hate on each other again. Great. I promise we're still gonna support you, gonna hate on you, whatever. But and change this one thing, and then come together, because we both sides should understand that this is bullshit, right? And of course, so blame the politicians, and now here we go with the podcast. Of course, we blame the media. The media, we know this. We talked about this. It feels like 1,000 times on this podcast already. Of course, the media is super happy about shit like this happening. When shit hits the fan, the media is happy, right? We talked about it. We talked about all the theories that are behind it, and I'm tired of it by now, because I'm so emotional right now. So we talked about like how media outlets benefit from from moral panics, for example. If something bad happens, then the media, of course, blows it up. In this case, and of course, the media that's on more on the left wing, I guess, that are like anti-gun and so on. Then they're blowing it up, of course. But then, of course, on the other hand, then the right-wing media shows them stats that show like how much worse it would be if people wouldn't have guns and whatnot. So, and it's not not guns kill people kill people. Yeah, people with guns kill people. If that person wouldn't have had a gun, you think that person would have had killed how many? 19 kids? Probably not. Well, in this case, maybe even he might have killed 19 people with a knife because the police didn't do shit and was just waiting outside for whatever fucking reason. I'm sorry, and this is not gonna demonetize with all the swear words, but if you're in the police, you have one job: is to protect people. Children in particular, and you didn't do anything. What? Like completely separate from, yes, blame politics, yes, blame the media, and back to the media in a second, but completely separate from this. What in the world? This I don't understand. Then you shouldn't be a police officer, you shouldn't be a cop, you shouldn't be like whatever SWAT team bullshit it was. Like, go back to play computer games if you want to be like, yeah, I'm in a SWAT team, and then you don't do shit. Got so many swear words, I'm sorry, but I don't understand. Back to the media issue. This will continue, right? The media's not going to stop. It's just like what I said earlier, stop playing the game for the politicians. The media should stop playing the game too when it comes to things like this, right? Like important things, the life of children. Stop the freaking game, Fox, CNN, whatever is in between. They get together, force the politicians' hands, and then you go back to like hate each other. And we're gonna be with you again. And then we're going to hate on Brian Stelter or whatever, and on Anderson Cooper and whatnot. But for this one moment where we all agree children should not die, get together. Get your shit together. Now, if that obviously won't happen because politicians are a-holes, media, and I work in the media people are a-holes, at least the ones in charge, the ones benefiting from all those things. So then there's only like one group of people left that can change something. That's the people. And yes, I know it's easier said than done, but if you see nothing changes, if you see kids die, and kids that are neither left nor right, their parents might be, but the kids aren't anything. So you can't be happy about anyone dying, right? So then the people should come together. But of course, they're not, because even the people enjoy the separation, this division. Like, I'm a team left, I'm team right, I'm team red, I'm team blue. Hey, Spooky, right? So, hey, don't kill my camera. For the listeners, one of my cats just jumped here on the desk and sniffs the camera stand. Okay, now you turn around. Okay, great. Yes, you can sleep here, Spooky. The only way to keep me calm when I talk about this topic is when Spooky walks in, so that I have to calm down. Okay, but back to the point, and then we move on, right? So the people, even the people, you, me, we are all happy to be in those different teams. We're right. No, we're right. In moments like this is where we should be human, should be like, I don't care which team you're on, I don't care which team I'm on. It's not about my team winning, about your team winning. It's about keeping our kids alive. So F this, let's come together, force those a-holes to make a change, and once we achieve this, we go back to hating each other. If we want to. But it's never gonna happen. And I hate to say it, especially not in America. And now people are going to say like, oh, why are you hating on America and so on. For the longest time, my dream was to go to the US because everything is bigger, better in America. Even like not only as a teen, yeah, of course, as a kid, but even as a grown up, when I was working now in higher education, for a long time, I was like, man, I wish I could work with, with the MIT Media Lab, for example. I did some work with Stanford and was like, man, Stanford's really cool. I wish I could work at Stanford Uni or at San Diego State, for example. Like I did research like about like university in my field, and I was like, man, I wish I could work there. Yeah. I still think those institutions are awesome, so I'm not hating on any of those institutions. I just don't think the American system is awesome. And I have right now no desire of traveling, living, or working in the US. And to come to this realization for myself is a bit disappointing because it was like one of those bucket list items. I want to live in the US, I work in the US for at least for short term. Yeah, not anymore. So, I mean, it's not that anyone cares, of course, but I'm just trying to explain my personal journey thought process because I just don't see anything changing. Let me know what you think, of course. Maybe I was about to say maybe I'm over exaggerating, but I don't think you can exaggerate when it comes to the life of children. Yeah, but let me know what you think. Whew, how do we get out of this intro for the next segment? The next segment, that's a tough cut now. And the next segment on my plan here in front of me is to talk about MMA. And I'll just try to like move on because we also need some entertainment and some sports in our life, of course. And then we can see at MMA, for example, we can be in different teams again. We come together, fix the gun problem, and then now it's gonna hate on each other again, being in different MMA teams. No problem. Let me quickly look what I had noted down for the MMA segment of the week. Oh no, before we go into MMA, I actually have two more things about in regards to the media. I listened to the podcast Lex Friedman. I listened a lot to Lex Friedman again. For a while I didn't because, sorry Lex, but sometimes it's a bit whiny. But now I'm into it again a bit more. And he had Jonathan Haidt on, who I listened to before as well several times, and always find myself disagreeing with. Same this time, of course. I have no doubt in my mind that he's well read, well educated, well researched, obviously published. So he's got the credentials. So not taking anything away, obviously. I just feel myself disagreeing with a few of his conclusions. But that's okay if you listen to podcasts, right? So he's like very much against social media and all the things like social media is bad, social media ruins young people, and so on. And the biggest issue I have here is simply that it's pretty much like black and white what he's doing, right? So he says like don't allow your kids to use social media, for example, and I disagree with that completely. But before I go into this, he also says he sees the benefits in children, for example, using like Roblox and so on to play, to develop their skills and to communicate and so on. So he's not against everything digital. He's just against social media. But the same thing here. So I think the problem is if you don't allow your kid to grow up with social media, and everybody else does it, and of course you shouldn't be like everybody else does it, so let's do it. No, of course not. But however, the thing is, they're gonna be exposed to it eventually, and you're gonna like keep them protected until they are 18 or until they're gonna move out of your house, or for how long? And it's tough, right? And then they're gonna be exposed, and they're gonna be overexposed, and like, oh my god, and then maybe even more addicted than ever if they don't learn how to use it right away, right? So why not have them have like some guided intro, like, yeah, limited time, of course, but don't just ban it. And if kids, I still have the firm belief that if kids realize that there are other things that are more fun than just being on Instagram, for example, on TikTok or whatnot, then they're gonna do those other things. I think so. Yeah, it's also up to the parents to encourage playtime with friends, to take the kids out, play with them, go to the park, whatever. They will realize it's more fun than being on IG. My opinion. So I don't like this. Of course, there are problems. Of course, cyberbullying and of course body shaming and so on are real, and it needs to be addressed. Totally agree with that. I just don't see that banning social media is for children is gonna solve it. But maybe more on this as we move on, as the serious part of the podcast has been quite long already. So that was the Jonathan Haidt podcast. Still very interesting. Listen to it. It's the Lex Friedman number 291. Still very much disagreeing with Jonathan Haidt though. And then, well, yeah, let's just mention it so that we get the clicks for it. Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, it's over. It's over. Okay, congratulations, Johnny Depp. And oh my God, the articles out there by outlets that for a long time I thought are decent outlets. This changed over the last few years, but still, like The Guardian, for example, posting like 100 articles about how this is a disaster and how now domestic abuse victims won't dare to come forward anymore. It's just ridiculous. This is not a thing about men versus women. And of course, now you can just point at me like, yeah, that's because you're a straight white male. So I'm sorry. I'm not so. I can have an opinion on things. I'm sorry. But isn't it good that in a time where you always believe women, and hashtag believe all women, she tried to hijack that. So isn't that a good sign also for women that someone who tries to hijack that movement, hijack that narrative approach, because she was clearly lying, what was proven by the lawyer. So isn't it good that she doesn't get away with it, so that then the women who actually were abused, who come forward, then will be believed? I think that's good. I don't see it as like man versus woman, obviously. It's liar versus the person who was lied about. So that's all I have to say about this. Like, I don't, and this goes back to the how the media works, right? Like, let's separate into different teams. Team Heard, Team Depp. Why do you even have enough time to think about which team you want to be on? To be honest, like, you don't have a real life or something. But yeah, so it's over. Johnny Depp, congratulations. Let's move just on from all of that. And Amber Heard, just whatever. Really not interested. But yeah, so I just hate how the media, of course. But we talked about this 1,000 times, how the media picked it up again and then just try to separate us into different teams just to get their clicks and so on. All right, then. Oh yeah, I read. I'm trying to read more again, like actual books. And right now I read a book. Well, it's not here. I read a book about creativity in communication, but not only in communication, also like in creativity in like your everyday life, how to be more creative and so on, by the founders of the D School of Stanford. See, there, I'm not hating. I love Stanford D School. Fantastic stuff coming out of there. And in this book, they quote, I think, Ralph Waldo Emerson. And he said, do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain. I love it. Okay, I'm going to review the book once I'm done reading, probably by next week. I might then talk about the book a little bit more here on the podcast, but it's a great book. It's something creativity. I'll review it next week, but I just liked that quote, so I just wanted to share this here on the podcast. Oh, I actually opened it. It's called Creative Confidence, Unleashing the Creative Potential Within Us All by Tom Kelly and David Kelly, who is the founder of IDEO and the Stanford D School, the School of Design. Okay. That's, by the way, the school that I was lucky enough to work with for 1.5/2 years now. Great place. Lots of cool stuff coming out of there. Okay, let's move on now to the MMA section though. And when we talk MMA, let's go through one championship first. Long time we haven't talked about one championship. One championship had an event this past Friday out of Singapore again. It was 158 because one is running out of names. For the longest time, they always gave them like one Winter Warriors or one Lightning in a Bottle or whatever. Apparently they ran out of names, so now they go with numbered events too. So now we're at 158 and headlined by Tavanchai versus Niklas Larsson. And of course, it was pretty cool. I want to review it, but it was really pretty short actually. So the main event, Muay Thai, it was Tavanchai, the Muay Thai prodigy out of Thailand, the next mega superstar. He trains out of the famous Sanchai gym, where like Sanchai, the super mega famous Muay Thai fighter. If you don't know Sanchai, Google Sanchai, Saenchai, Sanchai. He has his own gym by now, and this guy Tavanchai, his name now Tavanchai, and then Thai fighters always have the gym name as their last name, so his name is Tavanchai PK Sanchai gym. And he's like the big prodigy, like the next big superstar. And Niklas Larsson is a WB something Muay Thai champion, so he's a world champion. But he didn't have a chance. Like Tavanchai was finding his target quite early, was much faster, more aggressive than Larsson, and then set him down with like a straight right eventually, and then that was all she wrote. Great fight by Tavanchai, quick first round knockout. Next up, title shot for Tavanchai, so congratulations on that. Niklas Larsson, yeah, back to the drawing board. Let's get going. Co-main event, we had Fabricio Wonderboy Andrade. Again, Kwon Won Il, also first round knockout. Fabricio Andrade, the Wonder Boy out of Brazil, coming out strong. Liver kick KO was pretty impressive. I don't think he got hit once, I think, in that fight. And he calls for a shot now against John Lineker, the champion. So, yeah, Brazil versus Brazil. You always think like they wouldn't fight each other, but in this case, Fabricio Andrade is like, I don't care, give me the champion. So that was pretty cool. Another Brazilian victory was Alex Silva versus Adrian Matais from Indonesia, and Adrian Matais won the first encounter back then via KO. Silva said it was an early stoppage, but he said, because I lost this brought back mean Alex Silva. And Alex Silva was mean. He got him to the floor and then was stringing together submission after submission until he was sinking in the heel hook, I believe. So congratulations, Alex Silva. That was pretty intense and well done, of course. So that was fun to watch. Yes, I think that's the main. One more. Reese McLaren, Lightning Reese McLaren, got knocked down first, but then he's strung together another submission victory against Shi Wei. Also in the first round, so lots of first round victories. And the cool thing about this was that Reese McLaren has a new coach in his corner, and this new coach is John Wayne Parr, which is nice. It's nice to see JWP still around, one championship, still around fighters. So he's now in the corner of Reese McLaren and teaching him how to grapple, obviously. That was nice to see. So congratulations, Reese McLaren, and nice to also see John Wayne Parr still being part of the whole fight circus here, of course. And the last thing that happened that's worth mentioning, in my opinion, was Guto Inocente, Brazilian kickboxer, against Radel Pacic, who's like the up-and-coming superstar, demolishes everybody so far, found his range quite early on, jab to the face, jab to the face. You're like, okay, that's how what Opacic does usually. And then Innocent with a liver shot, not a kick, but a shot, like a jab, liver jab. That's how they call it on commentary. And that was it. And Opacic couldn't recover. And I'm not laughing because I got hit in the liver. It sucks. But like he looks like Hercules, right? He's like all chiseled and stuff. You would think that he might be able to recover faster from that, but perfect placement apparently. Didn't even look that hard. So yeah, great job, Guto Innocent. Congratulations. Well done, well done. He looked very chiseled also, by the way. Just saying. Okay, now there was one championship. The next one championship event is gonna happen in like 40 days or so from now. So gonna preview this then closer to the actual event. They also announced for the next US card that Demetrius Johnson will get another crack at Adrian Moraes for the championship belt. So it's Moraes versus Johnson 2. That shall be interesting. It's going to be in August, I think, if I'm not mistaken. More on this, of course, as we come closer to the event. And then we have to talk about the UFC as well, of course. And we just saw the UFC Fight Night in Vegas, whatever number that was. Who cares? We saw Dan Ige losing again. Hitting a rough patch right now, Dan Ige, doesn't he? That's gonna be rough to come back two in a row now. Against good fighters, obviously. So and he was tough, man. His opponent hit his flying knee out of nowhere, like close range, and then Ige stood afterwards and like didn't go down and just kept fighting. So, man, tough MFer, but hard to bounce back now, I guess. And what do we have in the main event? Oh yeah, Alexander Volkov versus the biggie boy Jairzinho Rosenstruik. And Rosenstruik had early stoppage, and yeah, it was a bit early, but if he wouldn't have stopped it, Volkov would have just kept hitting him, I guess. So, yeah. Sucks for biggie boy, I'm sorry. But yeah, Volkov, man, he's always right there, right? He's always right there at the top. He just never really gets over the hump, but he's always right there. So good job, Alexander Volkov, still in there. Still relevant. Congratulations. And Biggie Boy struggles against the top guys. But let's talk about what's going to happen, because that's going to be exciting. The next pay-per-view, UFC 275 in Singapore, here in Asia, which is cool. Maybe I don't have to wake up at 6 in the morning to watch it. So we will see in the main event, Glover Teixeira versus Jiří Procházka. I should be able to say it better because Czech Republic is right next to Germany. Jiří Procházka, I think Jiří, right? Jiří Procházka. I left Europe a long time ago. So Glover Teixeira versus Jiří Procházka. Glover Teixeira plus 165 according to UFC.com. Jiří Procházka minus 195. If I'm not mistaken, plus means underdog, minus means favorite, right? I don't bet because betting is not allowed in Thailand. Yeah, do I agree with that? I wouldn't, because Glover Teixeira is the champ. So hey, what's with all the disrespect towards the champ? All hail the champ, Glover Teixeira. I'm for the old guy. He's even older than me, so I'm for the old guy. Glover Teixeira, you go, man. If Jiří Procházka goes in there, does his martial arts samurai shit, and I shit mean it in a positive way. I hope you understand it from my intonation or the way I looked at the camera if you're watching. Because he seems really polite. He seems like a martial artist. He seems like he's from a movie, right? He congratulated Glover afterwards. He's like, man, great performance, awesome. It's an honor fighting you, and so on. So if he comes in, does his martial arts samurai movie shit, and then lands a spinning back fist again, or some stuff like this, or like a jumping, somersault backflip or whatever, and wins, I'm good with that too. I'm just looking forward to a great fight. And I mean, I can't say that I'm the biggest fan of Glover Teixeira's fighting style. I'm just a fan of Glover Teixeira, the person being the champion. But if Yeji takes it, I have absolutely no problem with that, which would be good to know for Dana White that I don't have a problem with that. Just really looking forward to the fight, seeing what Glover can do against like a young up and coming line compared to Jan Blachowicz, who isn't that young, of course, and who didn't have a great day. So that's going to be fun. I'm actually really looking forward to that. Co-main event, also championship fight, Valentina Shevchenko versus Tyler Santos. Valentina Shevchenko, according to UFC.com, -720 favorite. Tyler Santos +500. Tyler Santos did look good in her fights, though. She got, and maybe I'm biased because I just watched the Embedded yesterday, and the Embedded always does a great job at like hyping everybody. Tyler Santos looked good though in her fights. Got back to finishing ways. I don't like that in the interview Tyler Santos said, "I've seen holes in Valentina's game." Everybody who ever said that regretted saying that. Focus on your own game. Don't look for holes in Valentina's game. And of course you are looking for holes in the opponent's game, but don't say I've seen holes, because I don't think this kind of mental stuff works with Valentina Shevchenko. She's not going to be like, "Oh my God, Tyler Santos said she saw holes. I'm scared." I don't think that works with Valentina Shevchenko. Of course, I'm team Valentina Shevchenko. Several reasons. Well, actually, one reason I should not be for her. She speaks so many languages, but she doesn't speak German. Valentina, what's up? Why don't you speak German? You speak so many languages. But she speaks Thai. And since I live in Thailand and she trains in Thailand quite frequently at Tiger Muay Thai in Phuket, Valentina Chokdi Cup. I hope long may her reign continue. There you go. But if someone dethrones her, of course, I mean, it's going to be epic. I'm looking forward. I think there's going to be more of a fight than maybe the last one. The last Valentina fight wasn't that exciting, though, to be honest. So I hope it's not an indicator to where it's going, but I don't think so. I think she saw it herself, and I think she leveled up again, hopefully. So I hope we see old school Valentina in there again. I hope she's taking Tyler Santos serious. That should be a great fight. I like the previous fights of Tyler Santos, so this should be fun. Also a great fight is the fight right in before that. Zhang Wei Li versus Joanna. I don't even. I'm from Germany, and I can pronounce Jacek. Joanna Jacek. Joanna champion. Joanna former champion. And Joanna seems to have come around with like having lost to Rose and all those things, which is great because now I like her again. Like for a while she was like very whiny and complained about everything. I'm the boogie woman. That was also ridiculous. But now the last few interviews she seemed like happy to be back. She seemed in a good space mentally. Zhang Wei Li, her interviews are also very nice. I mean, very often you think she's like the mean Chinese fighter, but her interviews are always very polite usually. So no, it's all good. I can't wait for that again because the first fight was ridiculous. So yeah, let's do it, man. I can't wait. Those 3 fights alone are awesome. And I can't believe we're having them in Singapore, which is great. So well done, UFC. Well done. Well, so we have Rogerio Bontorin versus Manel Cape. Bontorin, I've seen a few. They did really well. I watched one Cup fight. It was also quite fun to watch, actually. Plus 185, minus 225 looks very close. I don't know. So I hope it's a good fight. I'm moving on to Jack Della Maddalena because he looked really good in his last fight. And he's taken on Ramazan MF, who I don't know, to be honest. But Jack Della Maddalena looked really good in his last fight. Like, really, he demolished his opponent. Respect. And he's from Australia, which means Singapore is a shorter trip than the US, so maybe he's a bit more rested even. So this should be fun. We also have Seung-Woo Choi against Josh Kulibao, which I have to pass, unfortunately. Brandon Allen is back in action. Cool. And then one guy with a great picture on UFC.com, which is Mahesh Tate. Do you mean Misha Tate? No, Mahesh Tate. And we have Andre Fialho. Oh, Andre Fialho is back. Cool. Andre Fialho is a dog against Jack Matthews. Yeah, Andre Fialho is probably going to walk. Like, I don't no, I should never say that. But Andre Fialho is like a hardcore. Like the two fights he had, was it two? Man. So I'm looking forward to Andre Fialho. This is going to be a fight that might steal the show, depending on Jake Matthews. We have Kyung Ho Kang versus Bud Gariel Dana, which sounds. Where have I seen him? Name sounds like from Mongolia, but I think has he fought in UFC before? I definitely seen him before. We have Liang Na versus Silvana Juarez. Okay. And awesome, we have Ramona Pascual versus Jocelyn Edwards. I've been following Ramona Pascual forever on Instagram. Like her whole story, her whole journey, and how she made it into the UFC PI here in Asia. Eventually, I think she's from Hong Kong, if I'm not mistaken. And now she's on the UFC pay-per-view. Eh? Ramona Pascual, that's awesome. I just feel like I know her because I've followed her. I don't know her, but I followed her journey on IG for years now. So that's pretty cool to see her being on the UFC pay-per-view. That's pretty awesome. So yeah, I can't wait to see this, like some really, really good fights. Of course, I'm going for Ramona Pascual, obviously. What are you talking about? This is gonna be fun. So UFC, great job setting that up. Okay, I have one more thing I want to talk about when it comes to the MMA section of the podcast here, which is open scoring. Ariel Helwani doesn't shut up about it these days. It's like open scoring, and every fighter wants open scoring except Eli Quinta. I just listened to Bisping and Anthony Smith, and they both, while not opposed, said it's not necessary. And so Helwani always says he wants the scores, at least for the fighters. He doesn't care about the viewers, the audience, but he wants the fighters to know whether they're winning or losing. Right. But then that's exactly plays in the hand of everyone who says, like, yeah, but if you tell the fighter that they're winning, that they're up 2-0, for example, in rounds, then they're gonna coast. Now, lots of fighters also say they wouldn't coast, because if you coast and you, like what Anthony Smith said, if you coast and you take your gas off the pedal, then you're gonna get punished, of course, especially when you fight high-level fighters. Makes sense. Nevertheless, and that's what Helwani Stooges pointed out as well on his podcast, this doesn't fix judging at all. You still get shitty decisions. And I know Helwani said he didn't mean to fix judging and so on. Yeah, great. Maybe try focus on fixing judging instead of like the scoring, like the open scoring. Would I mind open scoring? No. Does it piss me off to have to hear it every freaking week or twice a week? Yes. Do I have the option to not listen to Ariel Helwani? Yes, and that's what I'm doing right now. I every time he mentions open scoring, I just turn off because it's really annoying. I was listening to the Masvidal interview, and then he's like, by the way, Jorge Masvidal. Not even Masvidal pronounces his name Masvidal. Seriously? Anyways, and then he brings it up again. I'm like, no. And it's not like I would switch off my phone like this when I listen to podcasts, but you know what I mean. Fix judging first. And then, yeah, do open scoring. Who cares? But focus on the judging, my friend. If you want to change something in MMA, change change judging. Need more drinks. Okay. Cheers. Okay. Enough MMA. Let's move on. We have 3-4 more sections, but they're pretty short. Next intro. Wrestling section. Okay, I'm back in again. Last few times I said I didn't watch much. I'm all in again. I watched All In, of course. All In, All Out, all AEW. And oh my god, it was awesome. A few matches. Not that great. Yes, I agree. Lots of great matches though. And I can't even get into it because, of course, the biggest thing out of All Out was what happened the Wednesday after. The MJF pipe bomb. Holy shit. And we've been swearing now all 40 minutes long on this podcast, so I'm just going to keep going. Next week, less swear words, I promise. Maybe. Unless there's another shooting in America. But MJF, what a pipe bomb. Holy smokes. And they sure made it look real. I mean, lots of reports suggesting it started real and now it's a work because apparently they met and figured things out, which would be cool because I love seeing MJF in AEW. I don't think WWE would in 2022 give him that much creativity or that much freedom. But yeah, awesome. Also how they cut off the mic, of course, similar to Punk back then. But then Punk coming out during the commercial break, so it's not on TV, but you see, of course, all the social media content getting out there from people in the arena, how CM Punk is basically running out, and then MJF jumping over the rails and disappearing through the crowd. Punk style, didn't blow a kiss, but Punk style. It was awesome. That made me happy to have watched it. That was great. MJF, Tony Khan, pay the man. Sell the Jaguars, pay the man. MJF is worth every single penny that AEW earns and then some. Seriously. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. So much fun. Best heel in the business, of course. Like, not even close. Not even close. And you know it. Now I'm looking at my wrestling notes. One says MJF promo, check. The other one says AEW All or Nothing. That was it, not all or nothing. All something. And then I have one more, and I can't read it anymore because I wrote it by hand. The 3 words. No idea. Anyways, then we also saw CM Punk coming out on Friday's Rampage episode saying that he has to get surgery and that's why we will see an interim champion being crowned. Who could it be? Yes, it sucks for Punk. If you're old like us, Punk and myself, your body hurts and it just takes forever to recover. So sucks for Punk. Even though he's probably got better health insurance than myself, so don't need to feel that much sympathy for him. But should be fun to find the interim champ now. Sammy Guevara engaged again for I don't know how many times now. Congratulations. Making this also a storyline now. Getting a bit annoying. I really came around with Sammy Guevara as a wrestler, but like those things now, like those off the ring, out of the ring vignettes and stuff, it's just annoying. I don't like him. But I mean, supposed to not like him, so good job, I guess. And then it's WWE Hell in a Cell this weekend, tonight actually. And I just realized this right now when I was looking for news. I did not know it's Hell in a Cell, WWE. So might watch this then tomorrow morning, Thailand time, to see what happened. Maybe we can discuss this next time around. But hey, AEW got me back in again this week. It was great. It was fun. Young Bucks too, great. Being real assholes again. How they then tore off the mask in the tag match. Great. So great heel moves. Not the silly ones, but the actual heels again. Nice. So AEW doing good things right now. I appreciate that. We'll try to break it down more again, of course. Today I spent so much time on the shooting and everything, so I'll try to keep the podcast at an appropriate length. But then next week when I don't have to, I don't know, go off on rants, then hopefully I have more time to dissect the storytelling part again. Okay. Moving on from the wrestling part and saying one more time, MJF is better than you and you know it. Should be on his LinkedIn, by the way. Education part, also just very short because I'm actually really feeling like I lose my voice right now. That's why I keep drinking all the time. Two things in the education corner. So I'm still grading. Deadlines are next week to hand in grades. And yeah, I had the idea. I think I talked about this before here, and I wrote an article about it too. So I had the idea as a final exam in my first year class, New Media Studies, to have not a final exam, but to give students 3 to 5 minutes to record a video of themselves. No presentation, no nothing, just talking, explaining one key concept that we discussed in class in their own words. I thought it was pretty clear, pretty straightforward, which would help me to see whether or not they understand what we discussed. And they had like 5 or 6, 7 topics to choose from. Some did very well. They're like, hey, let me talk about transmedia storytelling, for example. Let me talk about media convergence. Let me talk about all those things. Great. But then 20% of students just read my slides. Like transmedia storytelling is da 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 da. Some of them then adding like background music, effects. And maybe that's what Jonathan Haidt was talking about. Maybe that's because they're exposed to social media all the time and they think like a video needs to have that. In this case, however, I wanted to focus on the content of what they're talking about, not on the production value, obviously, which was just very interesting to see what's happening. So maybe I should also analyze this. Because I thought it's going to be easy. Just turn on the camera, talk into your computer for 5 minutes, and then that's it. But apparently, like 20%, maybe even 30% of the students didn't do it like this. They tried to edit something fancy and so on. So yeah, interesting. What else? Oh yeah, I'm also now planning for the next semester, because semester over, I'm grading exams and so on. So planning for the next semester starting in August. And I have a class called Digital Strategies, but more on this also as we come closer. But I'm gonna change everything. I'm gonna restructure my syllabus. I'm gonna make it more design thinking oriented, more design challenges. And by design, I don't mean design, of course. I mean like find solutions to problems, and while you find solutions to problems, you learn something. I'm gonna move away from lectures, I think. I'm gonna use the lecture time. Don't tell my faculty, but I'm gonna use the lecture time for them to work on problems and to like just steer them into the right directions. I think I'm gonna use the hybrid approach. Like I will have some explanatory videos ready just in case they want to listen to explanations of me explaining certain things. And of course, they can always ask me during class time, but I think I will use class time not for lectures per se, but actually for making them do something, working on solutions to certain problems. But I'm still in the early phase. I will talk about this once becoming closer. Okay. Inspired by the D School. Oh, thanks for that. Okay, then what did I note down actually? That was off the cuff right now. I noted down that making changes is hard. Oh yeah, so this is what I planned right now, those changes, and I'm only telling you here in the podcast because we're friends. If I would do this like the official way, this would take forever. So don't tell anyone. And the same thing goes for academics, by the way. So if you write something academics or you apply for something, for grants, for example, what we have right now, getting feedback, and oh god, it just takes forever. I finished like a project a year ago. I got the funding. Like they told me I get the funding, but I haven't gotten it yet. It's a year later. Academics rule. Just I don't want to deter anyone from going into academics, but hey, let's move on from the education corner more, maybe also next time once I stopped grading, because then I don't have to talk about grading all the time. Okay, then the Thailand corner. Oh God, I can't read my handwriting anymore. Did I get drunk when I wrote this? I don't drink. High? I don't smoke. Okay, one of the things I have it here in the news though, crazed foreigner smashes a Bangkok bank branch in Pai. Pai is like a hip place, a hip city in the north of Thailand, like in the foresty mountains. Apparently, the foreigner came by motorcycle, lots of stones in his motorcycle, and was just smashing windows and then broke in and smashing computers and whatnot, and then went home again. And they arrested him at home. Crazy things happening here. And then we had the news that Phuket, or how the Americans say "fuck it" because it's spelled PH, it's called Phuket. Yeah, Phuket. They cancel the mask mandate, so I can go outside without a mask. But they now canceled the cancellation of the mask mandate, so because COVID risk and so on. So the mask mandate is apparently back on. There's been a big switching back and forth. Bangkok also still evaluating it, whether or not they get rid of the mask mandate in public. Just as an FYI. Then I'm looking for like places to stay, to move to, and whatnot. And I'm looking for pet friendly because I have those two. If you watch the video, you still don't see that I have like two cats. And if you listen, I just pointed my two cats who sleep around the camera right now. So I have two cats. So I search for pet friendly accommodation and so on. And there aren't that many, but there are a few. And then I inquire. I'm like, hey, can I look at your place? Blah blah. And are there any additional costs and whatnot? And 80%, 83% to take the Barney Stinson approach with numbers, but I'm actually not exaggerating. 83% of accommodations say like, yeah, we're pet friendly, but you have to pay for your pet. Then you're not pet friendly, you a-holes. It's like 1,000 baht per month per pet. I have two cats, it's like 2,000 baht more. Like, no, what the fuck? I had one, it's like 2,000 baht per pet per month. Great pet friendly, like this pet friendly bullshit. Seriously, I'm really mad. Like I said, it's seriously, it's like 80% of all accommodations I texted with, I talked on the phone, I emailed. They all have pet fees. Then you're not pet friendly. Seriously, bullshit. If you have a nice pet friendly location where I could move into, let me know. Speaking of, now pets. I'm still pointing at them. Last category of the day. Pew, pew, pew. The cat corner. Choo, 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 choo. Meow. I need a producer. The cat corner. Nothing much happened with the cats though. And like I'm really losing, I feel like I lose my voice right now. So we're going to finish in a second. It's been an hour. But now every time it's kind of funny. So I have those two cats, right? The black one and the white one. And every time I open the door to the outside, the white one just runs out. And I live on the third floor right now. Runs up but stays on the floor of the apartment. So she doesn't run anywhere else. For a while. And if I leave her outside for more than 10 minutes, then she's going to go down the stairs slowly and like go somewhere. But usually she just stays on the floor, rolls around, just chills there. The black one stops at the door, doesn't go out. If I would leave the door open for like forever, then she would go out eventually. But first she knows she's not supposed to go outside. But then I put the leash on her. Then she knows, oh, it's the leash. Now I can go out. And then she goes down the stairs right away by herself. And then she's gone into the garden. That's kind of funny, like how different they are, even though they grew up together. Like she literally sits like at the entrance of the door and she doesn't go over. Even if I sit outside of the door, sometimes I just sit outside of the door in the door frame, looking at the white one just chilling on the. She likes to just sit on the floor outside of the apartment because it's cooler, there's wind. And then I just sit outside with her, lean against the wall. The black one looks at me, looks at my other cat from the inside, but doesn't go past the door, which is kind of cute. Like very well, Snooze, you're very well educated. Yeah, and then both of them eat grass, and we go down like Spooky, the white one. She eats like everything, and then she throws up all the time. Ah, you're tired from me talking about you? The black one only eats bamboo. And she knows where the bamboo grows. It's like only one corner here and like a big area where the bamboo grows. She runs down. I don't even need to take her or anything. She runs down like around 3 flights of stairs, around 2 corners, in the corner under a fence. And then there's the bamboo and she eats the bamboo. Okay, that's it. My voice is gone. Okay, it was Spooky's birthday, also here in May. So we celebrated Spooky's birthday. I got her some food, of course. Of course, both of them ate it. And I know she doesn't like those weird cat pet cakes that you can buy. I bought them last year, didn't even touch it. So I just got some wet food, put some candle in there, and yay, took the candle out, and she ate the wet food, of course. Had some snacks that she likes, some jerky that she likes. It's freaking expensive by now, by the way. It's Spooky. And got her like a new scratch toy, like a pretty big one from a fancy brand here, but it seems to be quite good quality. The brand is called Kafbo, Kafbo. It looks nice. It looks like a piece of furniture, and they can just jump on it, scratch it, and so on. So it's quite nice, and they both are using it quite a lot, which is nice. Okay, I was about to talk more about the cats, but I really need to stop now because my voice is, my throat is killing me. So that's it for this week on the Funk It Pod. Next week, less angry, more details in like each of the categories, like more analysis. I promise, but now I go back to being sick. All right, thanks for joining me this week. I hope you're all doing well. Appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, follow, and so on. Of course, if you want to get in touch, at funkitpod on social media, funkitpod@gmail.com via email. If you can, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and so on, because it helps to find a bigger audience, so we can have like broader discussions. And now my voice is gone. So thanks for this. I appreciate you all. Stay safe. Take care. See and talk to you soon. Sawadee Krap.